I, 19, study drama at UNIT and my boyfriend is on the same course. My boyfriend is a really good-looking guy, but he doesn't seem to know it. He gets a lot of attention from girls and, for the most part, doesn't seem to get that they're flirting with him. I'm not generally annoyed by this and never really say anything. However, there's one girl in our class, let's call her Victoria, who is obsessed with my boyfriend. She goes out of her way to be paired with him in group activities. For example, if the professor picks groups by numbering us 1, 2, 3, she will move herself to be in the same number as him, and she recently stepped down from a main role in a play we're doing, so she could be in a more minor one, simply because this character has a romance with my boyfriend. I know this is the case because I've heard her say to her friends that she thinks he's hot and whatnot. I've never said anything to her about it because she seems pretty insecure, always complaining about how she thinks she's ugly, and I don't see it as a big deal because my boyfriend doesn't care. However, we recently performed the play and had a small after party where she got slightly drunk and was bragging about how she definitely felt something when they kissed in the play, and she's going to ask him if he felt the same. I rolled my eyes and again ignored it until she actually went up to my boyfriend. She was a little bit drunk, and when she went up to him, I was there too. Victoria started saying that she knows he must have felt a spark, he's a really good kisser, etc. I snapped and sort of shouted at her that you sound incredibly desperate going after somebody else's boyfriend. You're pathetic if you think a stage kiss means you should be together. She looked super embarrassed and walked away, and I later heard she'd gone home crying. I feel like a jerk because she's obviously insecure and wet in it, and her friends haven't stopped calling me an idiot since. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She's been trying to get at your boyfriend for a while, and you maturely didn't engage because it was clear that she didn't have a chance. She literally came up to him when you were right next to him and tried to have a conversation about feelings. That's ridiculous, and you were trying to be nice at first, but I don't think you had to be after that happened. Thinking that a stage kiss meant something with someone else's boyfriend is pathetic. Seemed like she wasn't going to stop until she heard that. Everyone's the idiot here. You're teenage drama students, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that there's so much teenage drama here, but come on. You couldn't think of a more appropriate way to address this woman's relentless and obvious daily pursuit of your boyfriend over the course of weeks, if not months, than shouting at her at a party in order to humiliate her. You couldn't, I don't know, at any time just say, hey, I don't know if you realize, but boyfriend and I are in a committed relationship. I think you did good for standing up for yourself. She was disrespectful for saying that. Though, you might have come on too strong when you said that to her, although she should check herself because she can't just talk all that crap and cry wolf about being insecure. She seemed secure enough to be saying all of that about your boyfriend and her. I hope you don't think you're an idiot. Or that you were wrong in saying that to her, perhaps the apology would be how you said it. Regardless, I hope she reflects on her actions too. What she did was not okay. Okay, so a few days ago I went to a nice cafe with my friend. We decided to sit in a corner that was close enough to the bar. We didn't even take our jacket off yet, and a young teenager, 13 or something, came towards us. I always sit there. Oh well, it won't bother you if you sat somewhere else, wouldn't it? The kid suddenly starts screaming for his mother, and she came as soon as possible. The kid told her in tears that we stole his favorite place and pushed him away. While doing so, we didn't even touch him. His mother comforted him and told us with a painfully forced smile that they always sat there since he was a baby and that it was their special spot. I politely told her that I wasn't planning on moving since we had this table first. The kid starts screaming, letting himself fall on the floor, while his mother started to yell at us for being rude and unreasonable people and that her son is autistic and doesn't like changes. People were now looking at us, and quickly the manager came. They clearly knew each other, and the mother started to say that they were loyal customers, coming every 2 Friday nights since the birth of her son, and that she wouldn't be throwing a fit if the manager didn't just ban all those rude young people. The dad just stood there and glared a bit at us, but that's it. After a couple of minutes, they left while pulling the kid out of the place. My friend told me that we just had to move to another table to avoid such thing, since autistic kids or people will get frustrated if things don't go their way. Am I the idiot for this? Oh good, it is not just me. Everyone's the idiot here. OP, there was nothing about that table that appealed to you, except you got there first. It sounds like there was going to be another table available really soon. It sounds like you had just gotten there. It sounds like it would have been absolutely no trouble for you to move. And it sounds like you knew that 13-year-old was challenged and not simply entitled. Not getting that table caused him great distress. Should his mom have acted differently and prepared better? Absolutely. She's an idiot. But so are you. Wow. I can't believe this up. It's gone to absolute crap. Yes, you are the idiot. He has autism spectrum disorder. I wish more people would educate themselves about it and the certain tics, routines etc. Unless the place was full, it wouldn't have killed you to move. It would take you less than 5 seconds. You caused that boy so much distress because you lack compassion. We will tell you that you were right and the child's a brat or the mother's entitled, but for the love of God you were so wrong. Totally, you are the idiot. It didn't even matter to you, it clearly mattered very much to the kid. If you've never cared for people with severe autism, you might not realize just how many little things like this can affect their day. It would have been absolutely nothing for you to have moved. You could have just been nice here and moved. It wouldn't have cost you a thing, like you said, you hadn't even taken off your coats yet. So what if the other tables needed clearing? Still wouldn't have killed you to have some goddamn compassion for other human beings. A few days ago, my neighbors, early 40s M and F, approached me and asked if I would be willing to watch their daughter, 11 and 12, Ray, while they went to the hospital. I agreed. I made it clear to my neighbors that they would have to pick up Ray before 1:30 p.m. as I had a court hearing. I couldn't miss the hearing under any circumstance. I am a lawyer. They promised they would be back in time. At around 1:30 p.m., they informed me that they would be late. It was too late to make any alternate arrangements, so I fixed Ray a quick lunch and told her to watch TV or Netflix, child mode enabled. I finished up my hearing by around 3 and came out to see Ray. I found her in my bedroom trying on my heels, lipstick and other courtroom gear, such as a black blazer and robe. The lipsticks were broken, the white shirts were stained, and the heels were scuffed. I do not know how that girl managed to cause so much damage in the first place. I was angry, but I did not see it fit to reprimand her. Ray's parents finally showed up around 3:30 p.m. and took her home. I asked to have a word with any one of them. Her father stayed back, and I told him about the items she ruined and that I expected him to repay the amount for cleaning and replacement after I show them the receipts. I expected him to apologize. But instead, he blew up at me and accused me of leaving his young daughter alone and claimed that anything could have happened to her. He even threatened to file a case against me. I was taken aback. Firstly, I would not have left her unsupervised if him and his wife would have returned on time. Secondly, I do not feel that 11 is an age where she is in danger if left alone. I told him to try his luck in court and stated that, if he doesn't agree, I would send them a demand notice for the aforementioned costs. Him and his wife have gotten the Residents Association involved, and while some of them are on my side, others are saying I'm an idiot for using the lawyer card over something so tiny. The total cost of items ruined is well over 10,000 rupees. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. First off, you made it clear to your neighbors that Ray needed to be picked up by 1:30 because you had to work and they were 2 hours late. Next, the girl is 11. Age 11 is plenty old enough to know that you don't enter rooms without permission and you stay out of other people's stuff if you don't have permission to use it. I'm bored is not an excuse for causing property damage. So, no, you are not the idiot. However, I doubt that the parents are actually going to pay for your things. It sounds like behavior like this is common for Ray and they just dismiss it. 100% not the idiot. I was leaning toward this even before I saw that you never actually left your home. I was home for 2+ hours alone by age 11. My son currently stays alone for 2 hours at age 11, never an issue, and I babysat elementary-age kids at age 12 or 13. The parents didn't honor the agreement and should be responsible for the damage incurred. An 11-year-old should be old enough to know not to disrespect someone else's home or possessions, and I would never hesitate to pay for items my 11-year-old damaged out of misbehavior. Not the idiot, the parents were the first ones to bring up pressing charges against you. You gave them a clear time to pick up. After that time the lack of supervision is on them. You did your best considering that you had to attend work and they knew that was why you set the pickup time. Additionally, what the hell are the parents doing to teach this child? At 11, this child should not be thinking it is okay to go into the wardrobe of a person who is not family and they are effectively the guest of. And at 11 she should know how not to damage clothing. During the middle of the pandemic, my brother-in-law got laid off and, because they could no longer afford rent, my sister, her husband, and their 3 kids, aged 5 to a newborn, moved in with me. I, 22, live in a small flat, but since I work nights and sleep most of the day, it's sorta like they live in the flat and I'm just some random guy. I understand the kids are very hard to take care of, but I expected my sister to at least try and keep the flat clean. That would be a hard no, since every time I come home, there's dirty dishes all over the place and toys on the floor, and it just smells awful. I don't know what it is, and neither does my sister, evidently, but it's terrible. The eldest colored all over the wall and spilled juice all over my rug. She also broke several fragile glass figurines that I inherited from my mother, who has passed away. My sister, we don't share the same mother, disregarded all of these things, and when I got upset, just told me to get over it because her kid didn't mean it. I've had to get rid of a chair because the second eldest vomited all over it and nothing that saved it. The youngest cried a lot, and it understandably irritated my neighbors, who never said anything to the landlady but did come over multiple times to complain. I have sat my sister down and explained my frustrations to her multiple times, but she just doesn't care. I have tried to explain everything to my brother-in-law, but he's rarely home, despite not having a job yet, even though it's been months. The kids were up at the same time that I was asleep, and they constantly ran in and out of my room, screaming their little heads off. I love them, really, but I couldn't deal with that, especially since you have to be alert and present in my line of work, security guard. The final straw for me was that somebody, more than likely the eldest child, let loose my leopard geckos. It took hours, and although I finally managed to find all of them, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I told my sister that she had to leave and that I couldn't take it anymore. It's been a week since then. I have gotten no word from my sister, but the rest of our family has been calling non-stop, demanding to know how I could just kick my niece and nephews onto the street. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You've put up with more than I would. They've trashed your house, broken things with sentimental value, and let loose your pets. If they were adults, I'd be suggesting you call the police. But your sister needs to step up as a mum. What sort of mum lets their children wreck a property that isn't even theirs? If my brother and I ever did that when we were visitors at someone's house, then we would have heard all about it. They're going to end up as idiots when they grow up if their mum can't sort out some boundaries. In that sense, I kinda feel sorry for them. Not the idiot. As a mom of 2, I can tell you exactly what is happening. She isn't actually watching or caring for them properly. Maybe she is overwhelmed with a newborn and unemployed husband who is never home to help. Accidents happen, but this is what is happening. She isn't cleaning, which means she is tired, or just lazy, which probably means she is sleeping while the baby sleeps, allowing the other 2 to run wild. I bet that smell is from something the kid spilled or hid while mommy was asleep, which is why she has no idea what it is. 5 extra people in a small flat is a recipe for disaster. Sounds like perhaps you to an extent don't understand what kids are like and the mayhem that sometimes accompanies them. But most of all, how is your sister not on some total Stepford Wives level of domestic helpfulness? It's a massive imposition for them to move in. Lots of things are inherently going to be worse with 3 kids, but I would expect some things to be better as an appreciation of them staying with you, flat clean and tidy and many chores done, as the least of it. I'm 25, currently 28 weeks pregnant. I was dating the father, but we broke up for various reasons, and he has chosen not to be in the baby's life. I'm doing the best I can to get by. I currently live with my parents, paying them rent and working. My older brother, 27, got married last year and I don't exactly get along with my sister-in-law, but not for lack of trying. When I announced my pregnancy, none of my family was exactly thrilled, but they rallied around me and were supportive. My sister-in-law has made comments like, "Are you sure you're ready?" And I would have gotten an abortion. The first didn't bother me so much, but the second sort of did. I ended up just writing it off as, we all have different reactions to an unplanned pregnancy. Recently, my mom was FaceTiming with my brother and sister-in-law as she made dinner. I was in the living room and could hear the conversation, but wasn't paying attention until I heard my mom mention something about the baby. Then my sister-in-law said it's not fair, and my mom asked what's not. And my sister-in-law said that she's giving the family the first grandchild before us, we're married, it should have been us. She stole our spotlight. Now, I had talked to my brother when I got pregnant about him and still having kids. He said they weren't trying for another few years. And that tracked with what sister-in-law has always said about wanting to be in her 30s before she has kids. So, it's not like they're trying and can't. She's just mad that I got pregnant before they wanted to. This hurt. My mom defended me, my brother didn't. He was quiet. I told my mom I overheard, and she told my brother. He tried reaching out to defend sister-in-law, but all he said was I had to see why she would want to have the first grandbaby. I just said until she apologized and he learns to stick up for his sister, I'm not speaking to either of them. My dad says I'm being unfair and causing family drama, that I should just forgive and move on. I say no. I'm seriously debating if I want her around my kid unless she apologizes. Am I being an idiot? Not the idiot, OP, name the kid after one of your parents, maybe one of those great the oldest man of every generation has this name kind name. If sister-in-law says anything be like no telling if you would ever have so I wanted to make sure the family name lived on my grandfather, my father and my brother are all named Scott. I wasn't going to name my baby Jim, too bad your kids will all be named Mike because Scott is in use. Ha, she wants to whine about you stealing the spotlight. Girl, steal it with both hands. This is your family, she's a late addition. Not the idiot. If she wanted to have the first grandchild, she should have started trying. Being married doesn't guarantee you'll be first, especially if they are waiting a few years. That's just ridiculous, and she can take that spotlight's bull and shove it. The spotlight ain't gonna wait for years for you. Frankly, the abortion comment was so out of line and you should have demanded an apology then, but good on you for doing that now. Sounds like sister-in-law of causing the unnecessary drama. Not the idiot, and now you have two less people to worry about during the holiday times. Sister-in-law just lost all possibilities of becoming an aunt. I'd keep your child away from her, remember that sister-in-law would have just aborted your child if she was in your shoes. Don't ever forget that. If she's willing to say that now, I'd be worried about the toxic crap would say to you and your child post-birth. Your sister-in-law resents you, and she will likely resent your child.